What's going on? Doc Todd checking in, former member of America's Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, Echo Company out of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Living here in Atlanta now and doing some music and other things to help vets in the creative space. I'm very interested in getting into my story. I would say it's not, there wasn't one thing in particular that made me enlist. I think a lot of people are like, you know, hey, I remember where I was on 9/11 and that made me want to serve, or maybe I had a bunch of family members that served, or this or that, or there was some sort of legacy. For me, it was a lot of different reasons. You know, I got introduced to military life through my grandfather, who was a JAG officer in the Navy. He, you know, was a commanding officer of a ship, and he served during peacetime, so I saw a lot of the positive impacts that it made on his life. I saw how disciplined he was as a person, how successful he was as a businessman, and you know, how revered he was in the family. So that certainly made me, you know, hold military service in high esteem. But for me, it was a lot of reasons. It was because, you know, I had friends and brothers that were over there fighting overseas. It was because, you know, my father wasn't going to give me money to pay for school. It was because I was working in the service industry at the time. You know, I felt like I needed to make a major move, and I thought that joining the military was part of my path to be the best person that I could possibly be. I thought it was a place where I would find discipline, where I would find order, where I would find direction, where I would find great male leadership, and a lot of these are, you know, the reasons that I served. So it was so many things bundled into one, and then I was going through a breakup too, like probably the first very serious relationship in my life. You know, broke up, so there were some impulsive elements of like, I got to get the hell out of here too. So a little bit of everything. I mean, I think my service was like a fast break, like a LeBron James-led fast break. I mean, it was wide open. The whole time I was in, I was doing something productive, whether it be field medical service school, whether it be A school, core school, boot camp, cold weather tactical training, deployment, a deployment workup. It was always something major going on in my career. It never really stopped. It never really paused. It just pushed right on through all the way into Afghanistan in the summer of 2009. So I was deployed to southern Afghanistan, Helmand Province, in the summer of 2009. If I was to put my finger on one very unique thing, it would probably be being medevac from Afghanistan for a non-combat related injury or illness. I had pneumonia in both lungs, so bilateral atypical pneumonia and Q fever. I had an internal rectal temp of 106 degrees. I was pissing brown. I was dying. My body was basically eating muscle tissue to stay alive. It happened after patrol. I went on patrol with 1st Platoon. We were out for 8 hours. Long story short, came back. A QRF bell went off, which is QRF stands for Quick Reaction Force. We had to hump it out another 2-3 clicks to a blast site, cordon off a blast site that killed 2 Marines, Nicholas Zarias and Jeremy Lasher. Several other Marines and corpsmen were severely injured on that particular IED. We ran out to cordon off that blast site, and I had already thrown up all the food and water in my system. I was already running about a 102, 103. And we get out to the blast site, and after everything is secured and everyone's been medically evacuated, I went to my sergeant and I said, "Sergeant, I need to ride back in that truck." And he said, "Doc, we got dead Marines out here. You need to suck it up." And I was like, "Hoorah, Sergeant." They had to drag me back probably the last 200 yards, and then when I got into the battalion aid station, I was 106 degrees and going in and out of consciousness. I ended up staying in theater for another 7 to 9 days before ultimately the battalion surgeon said that if we don't get you out of here, I think you're probably gonna die. My experience, you know, if you've experienced any kind of trauma like that or gone through a similar situation, I found that it's, you know, extremely counterproductive to beat yourself up about it. 2017, I created an album called Combat Medicine that was, you know, focused on suicide prevention, was focused on helping veterans dealing with things like post-traumatic stress and addiction, and, you know, a lot of the common things that we deal with coming home. And I've had people literally say, "This song took the gun out of my mouth," or, you know, "This music saved my life." And I feel specifically called to utilize music as a way to bring people together and heal and grow. So that's really what we're focused on now, is doing that. And not only just from the things that I create, but helping other veterans and helping other military personnel to develop their creative talents and to create content that's focused on healing and focused on empowering other people. So that's what I'm trying to do now.